It's up to us. And we have to stand up and speak up because, like I said, nobody's coming to save us. No guy's gonna ride in on a white horse, or nobody's gonna come in off of a cloud and come save us. It's up to us to get active. When we see something going wrong, we have to get active ourselves to start to push, to get active to change it, and then pray to God for the increase. And the more active we are, the more we push forward for it, the more we encourage others to address the issue, the more the needle gets moved. But it's up to us. It's not going to happen automatically, and I think that that's what people think is going to happen. It's either going to happen by itself or some magic is going to happen. But where's the magic if you're not a part of it, right? They say that Disney is magical because you're a part of the magic. They say that when you fall in love, it's magical because you're a part of the magic. Well, if you're not joining in to make a difference, how is something magically going to happen to make a difference? That doesn't make any sense. And that defies reasoning and logic. But I'd like to welcome you guys to the show. Thank you for tuning into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We are here in your ear with all the information you need to hear. You're listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio in Rochester, New York. Thank you for tuning in. We got a great show for you. And if you're online right now watching us, please hit the like and the share button. If you want to drop a comment, we'll do our best to pop the comment up on the screen, and you can become part of the conversation, and you can actually pitch in yourself and be part of the conversation, because every share, every like, and if you're on X, every retweet helps, and it doesn't cost you anything. So make sure that you pitch in this conversation too. We're going to jump into the conversation today. We are upstate New York's #1 conservative talk show, and I thank you guys for tuning in and making it that way. Make sure you share this out on your page, your friend's page, and everybody else's page. Now, if you are soft and you are lily-livered, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're an easily offended person, it doesn't matter whether you're on the right or the left. I promise you, people will get offended today. So if you are not here to think that you can get through possibly being offended, you might want to leave right now. And that's me doing the best I can to be very nice, because I love you all so very much. Let's jump into it today. Let's start off with what is going on stateside with the Elon Musk, Donald Trump feud. Now, I don't know if you guys have been following it, but the last couple of days, there's been like a feud going on between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And honestly, I don't think that the feud is real. I think it's a bunch of hogwash. I think that we're being manipulated and we're being conned, as, we always are, by somebody in the government all the time. It's what can you do to make them look over here? What do they say? It's razzle dazzle. Look over here while such and such goes on over here. I think that largely it's concocted and it's not real. They're doing it just for optics, to try to show that there's some distance between them. Maybe there really is something there, but it's probably not even remotely as big as they're trying to make it. Now, I guess this started over Elon's alleged disapproval of the big, beautiful bill, right? Now, I don't know that the bill is so beautiful. I know that it's really big. I know it's got a lot of stuff in there that I like, but I know it's got too many pages in there for me to read. And that's my biggest problem with all of the different legislation that goes through Congress. I think we should be passing one-item bills, okay? I don't think that it should be 500-600 pages long. I don't think it should have a whole bunch of attachments, runners, add-ons, additions, okay, and all of that crazy extra nonsense. If it is the bill to help highways, it needs to be a bill exclusively to help highways. It shouldn't be in there anything about funding a fishery in Guam if it's a bill to build highways. You understand what I'm saying? Like, fisheries don't have anything to do with highways. Hello. But this is what happens when we don't actually demand from our elected officials what we want as far as representation. Lorraine, I see you. Lorraine says she's watching. Thank you for tuning in, Lorraine. And anybody else, if you guys are watching, please drop a comment. I'll pop it up on the screen, and you can be part of the conversation too. Share it on your page, your friend's page, and everybody else's page, even your enemies. All right, so as we have this conversation, and you guys got to forgive my hair online, you might not have heard the whole thing. It's raining crazy out here. But as we talk about this big, beautiful bill, like there is a thing in there. It's called the Hearing Protection Act. It gets rid of the tax stamp requirement on suppressors and what you would consider to be silencers or reducers for firearms. And I think that is absolutely fantastic. Okay. And I think that that should go through. But we've got so much other stuff in that bill that is not actually helpful. And I think that what happens is a lot of people harp on small issues and they don't actually go along and understand what else is in the bill because there's just so much in there, right? But again, back to what I was saying, that's part of the problem. Thank you, Lorraine, for sharing. I see you said you shared. I appreciate you. But that's part of the problem. People don't actually check out and see what else is in the bills that are being passed by Congress, that are being passed by the House of Representatives. So we never know. Like they put a whole bunch of stuff in it. They'll say, oh, it's the Green New Deal. And they'll have subsidies for fossil fuels in there. They don't care. They'll have money for Western Bangladesh to have third grade rats be able to be in classrooms. Like, how does that go in the Green New Deal bill? Like, these are the type of things that go into Congress. Like, you guys have to understand, if you see some of the stuff that Congress spends your money on, you would be beyond perturbed. And it's not a left or a right thing, a Republican or a Democrat thing. It's an all of them type of thing. And that's why we got to keep an eye on them. But in order to keep an eye on them, we got to get bills that are only for one thing and one purpose. They can't be having it be 90 million things. This new big, beautiful bill, it doesn't cut spending enough. That's a fact. But the more spending that's cut, the more people are going to feel it. And, a lot of people are mad that Trump was trying to get rid of a lot of the federal employees. Employees cost money. Like, I don't know if you guys know how much it costs to employ somebody, but in order to employ somebody, you need to have them making profitability of at least 2.5 of themselves. Because that's how much it's going to cost you as a baseline just for that person, just to have the insurance coverage on them, just to pay the taxes on them. So that's a conversation that we really need to have. But people are like, oh, we don't want them to close down the different offices in the government. You tripping. I want them to close down every office in the government if it doesn't have anything to do with international trade. Not that I really think that they should have a lot to do with that, or it has anything to do with the military. It shouldn't be part of the government, of the federal government. The federal government, too big, too bloated, does too much, takes too long to do everything, and doesn't know where none of the money is. Because they got 19 million departments and 52 million of them are all redundant agencies. Yes, I said they got 19 million departments and they got 52 million that are all redundant. That's how bad it is. I know what I said, So join in the conversation, drop a comment. But I look at this bill as a possible opportunity to get more stuff going that we can while we've got the House, while we've got the Senate, and to get it going. But where is the good stuff in there? Where's the concealed carry reciprocity? Why is that not in this bill? Why has that not even been passed already? We got the House, we got the Senate. We can't agree that that's a good thing. Come on now, stop playing in my face. Do we not love the Constitution? Do we not like the Second Amendment? Do we not agree with that or something? Somebody tell me, stop me when I'm telling a story, y'all. Hit the like and hit the share button. Okay? Because it's not about the party, it's about the policy. If the policy is bad, it doesn't matter what party is putting it out. And that's a good policy. They got that in there. They got a bill out there right now that's to stop usury. What's usury? That's unnecessary interest charged on bills. That's high interest. Okay, because if you're a Christian and this is a Christian nation, I don't care what you say. Oh, well, separation of church and state. The country was founded on Christian values and virtues. And if you want to negate that, you're negating the whole history of our nation. You're negating all of the laws and things that the Congress has passed since our foundation. You're negating everything about our country. But that's what a lot of people want to do, and that's problematic. And that takes me right into these people. And if we have time, we'll come back to this big, beautiful bill. And that takes me right into these people out there in the middle of LA, right? In LA, they're out here tearing stuff up, setting stuff on fire, throwing rocks over bridges, throwing rocks over bridges? What are you throwing rocks over bridges for? Talking about, oh, well, we're protesting them deporting illegal aliens. Are you dumb? You throwing rocks off of bridges to hit cars on the expressway? Somebody need to hit you with a billy club, right? Come on now, it's so disgusting it makes me want to spit. Now, that type of behavior is unacceptable, and I don't care who you are, what side of the spectrum you find yourself on. That's unacceptable. You throwing rocks off a bridge into oncoming traffic. I don't care who's down there, okay? Are you at war? Clearly, they've declared war against the United States of America. Well, guess what? I'm American. This is my country. My family has been in this country since before this country was a country, okay? I'm a true American, through and through. But here's the deal. When it comes to people talking about death to America, because this is what these people are saying, and we need to overthrow America, that's what they're saying. Okay, these people are saying this out of their mouths. Watch the videos. I've seen them say it here in my city, and I've warned about this for ages. So if you guys have followed me for some time, you probably have heard this before. But they're out there doing it now. And they're like, we need to overthrow the government. We need to burn everything down, and we need to get rid of everything. Excuse me? While you're out here flying foreign flags. You're not flying American flags. They're out there actively burning and spitting on and stomping on the American flag. But you mean to tell me that you're protesting for illegal aliens because you want to keep them in America, which is the country that you're spitting on the flag and setting it on fire? Can somebody please make that make sense to me? Explain it to me like I'm 5. Please do. The comments are open. If anybody can explain that to me, explain it to me like I'm 5, why that makes sense for a form of, I'm using air quotes if you're listening on the radio, protest, to be setting the American flag on fire and spitting on it, if your whole concept is that you want to keep these people inside the United States. Who's dumb? Not me. I'm not dumb enough to believe that. And I don't think none of you listeners are either. Okay? Like, if you want them to be in this country, why aren't you waving the American flag saying, yay, I want to be part of this country. I want these people to be part of this country. But that's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. They're fermenting dissent. They're fermenting anarchy. They're fermenting havoc. They're fermenting destruction. They're fermenting complete rebellion against our country right now, inside our borders. Okay? They are seeking to overthrow our government in favor of foreign entities and foreign groups, nationals, countries, all of it. They're out there waving the Mexican flag. Are you serious? Are you serious? Like you're conquesting something? Like you about to run some stuff here? You want to run some stuff with your Mexican flag, take your Mexican loving self back to Mexico. Since you love Mexico and Mexico's so hot, go back there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you really think that Mexico's so hot, why are you fighting so hard for these people not to get deported back to Mexico? Not that most of these people are getting deported to Mexico, because most of these people ain't from Mexico. But that's a whole nother conversation that they don't want you to have. That's a whole conversation they don't want you to have. But we need to have it. And that's why we're having it here on this show. Because these are the type of important conversations we need to have. That's why I encourage you to hit the share button real quick. Take 2 seconds, hit the retweet. It doesn't cost you nothing to hit share. It doesn't cost you nothing to hit retweet. Okay? Because these are the conversations we need to have. Why are these people, if they say they want these people, other people, these illegal aliens to stay in our country, why are they burning our flag? Make it make sense. Why are they setting stuff on fire? Make it make sense. You want to be in this country so much. Do you not love this country that you want to be in so much? But you want to fly foreign flags? So go to whatever country you're flying a foreign flag for. I'm not mad. You love them. Go there. You don't see me out here waving a French flag. I'm not about to go to France. I don't like France. And if y'all follow me, you know exactly why. And we'll talk about it another time, I'm sure, because they always trying to get us into something. As far as France go, can't stand them, okay? since the inception of our nation, even right before our nation was a country, they always been giving us a pain in the neck and causing some issue where we get into a conflict or a war. Every single war, and you can go back and look this up, and I challenge you to start doing some research. Every single war or armed conflict in the history of our nation goes right back to something to do with France. Either France needed us to try to get them out of the situation they're in, but they started a whole issue, or it's us at war with France because France don't know how to act and they always bothering us. We be bothering France too when they was in America, in Canada and stuff like that, because, you know, this land is our land. It's not their land. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, but if you're flying a foreign flag, maybe you should go to that country. Like, that's not anything that's like an inflammatory statement. That's not anything that's like off the wall. That's just like, if you love that country so much, why don't you want people to go back there? But you're in our country waving a foreign flag. That doesn't make any sense to me. Not even at all. Somebody made a comment. Let's see who made a comment. Michelle says, hi. Hey, Michelle, I see you there. Thank you. Thank you for commenting. I see you. But yeah, as we have this conversation, they're doing a massive amount of destruction in LA right now. A massive amount of destruction. I told you they shut down the highway. They're out there protesting on the highway. They're throwing bricks over the guardrails and everything, dropping them on cars and stuff like that, fighting the police, setting police cars on fire, destroying federal buildings and stuff like that, damaging ICE detention facilities and stuff like that, destroying the police precinct. Now, apparently the police haven't been doing too much of nothing in relation to anything. So why are they at the police, right? The police don't have anything to do with the immigration stuff that's going on there. So if the police don't have anything to do with immigration stuff that's going on there, why are they going out and attacking the police? These are the things that need to make you think and need to make you go, right? You've got Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, who's a useless piece of, oh my goodness. You understand what I'm saying? And then you've got, what's her name? Karen somebody. Can't stand her either. She's trash. Bass? Karen Bass. I feel like it's Karen Bass. Yeah, I feel like her last name is Bass. But anyway, she's the mayor of LA. Yeah, it's Karen Bass. She's the mayor of LA and she's trash too. Like, they don't care about law and order. They don't care about public safety. They don't care about businesses. You know, they just let people run amok. And we know how that gets. It's like if you guys have ever seen the movie Double Dragon, it's like that's what LA is like right now, like it was in Double Dragon. If you haven't watched Double Dragon, go check it out. I think it was the late 80s, early 90s. It's a great movie, even better video game, you know. But anyway, that's what it is. It's like the criminals run the city and nobody's trying to stop them. So because of that, and because of what's going on, and because there is no order, and they're just out there throwing bricks, they're throwing bricks and fireworks and bottles. And then somebody's dropped off pallets of concrete, cinder blocks, and bricks. Who is out here dropping off pallets, y'all? Pallets, not a couple of bricks, pallets of bricks and cinder blocks. Why would you do that? Things that make you go, You know what I'm saying? These are the things we need to have a conversation about. Let's see. Lorraine says, what'd she say? She says, Islam will take over like Europe. Okay, I hear you. That's a conversation for maybe later or another conversation. But right now we're on this topic. Thank you, Lorraine. But yeah, so they're out there destroying everything. So Trump decided that he's going to allocate 2,000 National Guard to the situation, not send them out, but allocate them. So I guess he sent out somewhere between 300 and 500. I've yet to be able to confirm that as a firm number. But they're out there and I guess they're trying to help. Now, according to Gavin Newsom, who clearly doesn't have a grasp on what's going on and has no desire to get the public safety aspect of things taken care of, he's like, oh, well, Trump doesn't have them doing anything yet. Well, he just called them up like 20 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, being overzealous and embellishing. But you know what I'm saying? Like, after that, you got to really see what's going on, see where you're going to strategically deploy them. But you want the resources to have them than not to have them and need them, right? What do they say? It's better to need it and have and not need it and have it than to have it and not excuse me. It's better to not need it and have it than it is to need it and not have it. And that's what we got going on right now with the National Guard over there. So he's called up those many, and he's got about 300 to 500 out there right now. But that's good to help with that, right? I'm not for that. Now, let's be very clear. If you guys have watched me for some time or followed me for some time, I do not like the military, any branch of the military being used for any type of situation in public affairs. I don't like it. I believe it sets a bad precedent. It moves us in a poor direction. But these people are inciting this stuff, and they're trying to create the situation where we have to bring out the National Guard and the military because we don't have enough police. Now, if you guys don't remember, they defunded the LA Police Department also, and the LA Police Department doesn't have enough officers. So this is something very common that's happened in a lot of cities where they like to have these riots just so matter of factly. I wonder if that has anything to do with something much bigger that's going on, which is a conversation that we should be having, you know? But we can't talk about that because when you start to connect dots and stuff like that, people are like, oh man, well, that's a conspiracy. Well, let me tell you something. Conspiracy is a state level offense for the court system, and it's a federal level offense for the court system. Conspiracy is a real crime. That means it is a real thing that happens. Conspiracy is only 2 or more people getting together and planning something out. Maybe it's 3 or more people, right? But getting together and planning something out. You can conspire to go to the store and go get some candy and come back home. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we need to remember what words actually mean. But when you start connecting the dots to these politicians that are in offices that are soft on crime or pushing to defund the police, and these DAs in certain areas where they don't want to lock up the criminals and they let them go. And they all seem to be in these areas where all of these different riots and town takeovers and stuff like that seem to be going on. In San Francisco, they've got riots going on over there. They arrested like 60 people in San Francisco over the last 3 days because of these riots. Okay, and that, again, this isn't the LA. I don't have the numbers on how many got arrested in LA yet. Drink water, stay hydrated. But this is important for us to have these types of conversations, okay? If we're not having the conversations, who's going to have them? Now they're talking about possibly sending out the actual Marines. Like 500 Marines are on standby, okay, to possibly, is it Pendleton? I don't know. I don't remember which camp is over, which camp, Marine camp is over there. Forgive me, you guys, okay? I forget which one, but whatever is over there. They've got 500 on standby to go be possibly deployed if the president decides that it's fitting the level of an insurrection. I believe that it's worse than an insurrection. I believe that they are fermenting the overthrow of our government. So it's not an insurrection. It's a full-out declaration of war when you're burning the American flag and saying death to America, down with America. That is full and right out declaration of war. And you're declaring yourself a wartime combatant, and you should be treated as such. So as far as him talking about, oh, he's going to possibly impose, what do you call it? Posse comitatus, okay? And then use the Marines to help quell the stuff that's going on out there. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. I've been warning about this type of stuff for years, and it's not for Trump. It's for the whole system. It's for the whole system. I'm warning about it when Kathy was here using the National Guard. Governor Kathy Hochul is our governor for New York State. And she's used the National Guard for a number of things, including policing operations and operations being at medical centers and stuff like that, which they have no business doing anything that's a civilian type of a job. So it's getting people used to seeing the military in our streets and getting accustomed to them being out there in the public. And I do not like that, not even one little bit. But I've been warning about the push towards martial law for years. And now all of a sudden Trump's in there and like, hey, Trump's going to institute martial law. Well, we've got the perfect storm right now for that to need to happen. And I said need because that's exactly what it is. At this point, it surpassed a want. It surpassed a fleeting thought. It's almost a need. And that's problematic. But this comes from, where does this come from? It comes from the DAs in certain areas letting out all the criminals. It comes from the state legislatures. In New York State, we have the state assembly and the state senate. Some other people, they call it the state house. But in New York State legislature, they've got all these laws that allow criminals to run wild. They push to defund our police here locally. We don't have enough police here locally, and the criminals run the whole house. You understand what I'm saying? And we need to have that conversation. If we need to restore justice and stuff like that, we need to restore law and order. How are we going to do that if we don't have enough law enforcement, right? If you can't enforce the laws, there are no laws. And then in New York State, you can't have a half a functional firearm, right? The criminals got all types of crazy firearms, but they want to make it difficult for you as a New Yorker, as a law-abiding citizen, to be able to own a firearm that's worth a dime. You know, now they want to, oh, it's got to be top loaded. You're only limited to 10 capacity, this, that, and the third. And they got people with drum magazines out there. Like, are we being for real right now? I just saw they arrested some 13-year-old boy, might have been 14, but 13-year-old boy, day before yesterday. No, it wasn't even the day before yesterday. It was like yesterday morning with a 20 round magazine for a handgun, right? Now, New York State, you can't get anything over 10. How the criminals out here packing like this and we can't roll around like that? Then we don't got enough police. Like, these are real serious conversations we need to be having and holding our state assembly and state senators accountable for. Like I said at the beginning of this, if you guys are just tuning in, nobody's coming down out of cloud. Nobody's coming in on a white horse to save us. It's up to us to stand up and speak up. We must be the ones. And the Bible, it commands us to occupy until the Lord's return, until Christ's return, rather. But, you know, Christians really get it twisted and they're like, oh, well, somebody else will do it. Nobody else is going to do it. If you see it's wrong and it's not right, you need to stand up and work to do something about it and pray to the Lord, our Father in heaven, for the increase. Can I get an amen? You understand what I'm saying? Like, but this is a serious nature. Then I'm talking to all patriots too. Like, where are you right now? You know, I know after COVID started to peel away, a lot of the different freedoms groups and stuff lost a lot of steam and stuff like that. But I mean, if you care, you don't care no more. What all of a sudden? Oh, now I'm too busy with work. Now I'm too busy with my kids. I can't do anything. Our country is falling apart. Why is it falling apart? Because on the local level, not on the federal level, on the local level, not enough people will get active. You understand what I'm saying? We got open people in my city endorsed by the Democratic Socialists. Are you serious? The Democratic Socialists do not want us to have a country. They want to overthrow our government and recreate it in their own image. Are you absolutely serious? But where are the people that are willing to get active in opposition for that? If you guys are here in Rochester, reach out to me, shoot me a message, shoot me a comment. I read all of those. Okay. And let's get to work. We got stuff to do. Okay. And I appreciate you guys all that are listening to the show right now. Make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, hit the little retweet button. It don't cost you nothing. Drop a thumbs up or wave in the comments. All of the comments help, even if it's a little bit. Okay. Because it helps kick the algorithm and get it out to more people. You're listening to The Divide on WRFZ 106.3. We're here every Monday from 2:30 to 4 p.m. Talking in your ear with the conversations that we need to hear. So as we go on with so much other stuff that's happening, we also have to talk about the fact that look at what's going on right now. There's all of these far leftist people are uniting in hate against Trump, right? And you've got the anarchists among them, which are trying to use that movement to spur those people towards hyper aggressive action and violence. This is, if you read some of the posts online, you can easily and clearly see that. It's not like something that's hidden. When they go out and they're chanting "Death to America," it's not like it's hidden. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the conversations we really, really, really need to have. So as we have these conversations, we have to ask ourselves, is a group of people uniting in hate going to end in a positive way? And the answer is absolutely not. It couldn't very well possibly. Because they want to hate anybody that doesn't agree with them, okay? And they want to unite the left on every single cause that has no overlapping cause. Like they want to unite the gay people with the Ukraine people when Ukraine beats gays to death. Okay, that's a thing. Go look it up. Ukraine just, and I'm using quotes, air quotes, okay, they just decriminalized homosexuality. They didn't, not really. Okay, they don't play that stuff over there. Okay, if y'all didn't know, Ukraine used to be Nazis. Okay, and many will tell you that they still are, but that's a whole separate, bigger conversation that don't nobody want to have. You know, but that's the conversations that we need to be having. A lot of those people over there are Nazis, and that's a serious thing. And you know, they honored somebody in the Canadian House of Lords. Was it last year? Maybe it was a year before. Because he was a Ukrainian soldier that served in World War II. You know what side the Ukrainians were in World War II? The Nazis. He's got a Nazi honoring a Nazi on the Canadian House of Lords floor. Craziness. Crazy. This is a warped world that we live in because everything is cultivated by the media, by social media, to make you think in a certain way that they want you to think and not think freely. And the second that you bring up a topic or talk about something that they don't want you to talk about, they'll try to say, oh, well, that's not true, or oh, well, what's your proof, or oh, well, what's this, what's that? Well, just go look it up. It'll take you like 5-10 minutes. Maybe go to a library. Forget Paris's thought of going to a library if Google was too much for you. You know, but these are the conversations that we need to have. But they're trying to unite everybody together in hatred of Trump. But it's not in hatred of Trump. It's in hatred of America. And I've mentioned this before, okay, because I know everybody's not the biggest fan of Trump. But why is Trump better than alternatives? Shoot, I don't know. You can guess that yourself. But I'll tell you this much that I do know. I know that Trump believes that he is America, that America is him. You know, that's his brand. You know, that's America is part of Trump's brand. Even before he was running for politics, America, 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 like he's a New Yorker. New Yorkers are proud Americans. At least we used to be. You know, the Empire State, Lady Liberty, all of that, you know. But that's always been his brand. And because his interest is America, a lot of that reflects back on the American people in his policies and his priorities. But because there's so many people out there that dislike him so much and so thoroughly, a lot of people are missing the advantages in this administration that they could possibly benefit from. And I'm going to tell you who's not missing anything. The ultra wealthy ain't missing a beat. They're in there. They got their feet and their hands and their toes in there. Okay, whether they consider themselves leftist or not, they're all working together at the top of the pyramid for their own benefit. They all go to the same schools. They all married into each other's family, whether they're Democrat or Republican at the top. It's all together. But we got to understand that. They're not losing any sleep over no nonsense, bickering back and forth. They're not out here hating that man so much that they won't even talk to him to see what they can do. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. He came out there all like, oh, man, yeah, let's be friends, you know, and all of this stuff and all of that stuff. And a number of other people, too. Why? Because it was in their best interest. There was stuff that they can get out of it. But right now, the American people, largely those on the left and the far left, are like, well, I don't want anything to do with him. I hate him. He's so bad. I was talking to a far leftist just yesterday. And I was like, well, what policies? Because they were like, oh, man, you're a Trump supporter, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I never said that. You never heard me say that. Did you hear me say that? I support the president of the United States of America, whoever it is. I hope that they're very successful. Like I support the mayor of the city of Rochester. I hope they're successful. You know, I ain't got to like them. I ain't got to like what they're doing. I'm not never going to like everything that everybody's doing anyway, no way, right? But if they're passing policies that are, I believe, are beneficial or the way that policies should be done, that's good. So I was talking to this far leftist. It wasn't really a talk. He was just kind of babbling because he didn't want to. I asked him, I said, well, what's your issue with him on policy? Because you want to come at me for him. I don't know Trump from a can of paint. I ain't never met the guy in my life. The man don't make me mean nothing. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? If he eat, I don't go poo. You know, like, like, so he's out here like, yeah, Trump this, Trump that. Well, what policies do you disagree with, bro? What policies? Tell me a policy. Let's have a conversation about a policy. What people don't understand about the president is exactly what they don't understand about the mayor here in the city of Rochester. People mad at the president or they mad at the mayor over stuff that ain't got nothing to do with his position. Or they're mad at him over some superficial nonsense. There's real stuff that you could be mad at him. Like, bro, I don't like the fact that he's out there in bed with Palantir. Go look up Palantir, bro. They up to no freaking good. And we're going to talk about them right quick in a second. Okay? Because we're going back to the LA thing. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, hit the retweet button. It don't cost you nothing. Okay? And if you can, please do donate. We're working to raise $50 to $100 per episode so that we can get some more money to get some more airtime. Airtime's not free. And I love to be able to have more conversations like this with you on a weekly basis. So you can give by going to Cash App, and that's $MW Real, the digit $1, that's $MW Real, the number 1. Okay? Or you can do Venmo or PayPal, and that's at Marcus C. Williams. So as we have this conversation, yeah, Trump's out here with Palantir. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of him being in bed with a guy in a company that's out here like, yeah, the whole country should basically be a surveillance state. I'm not about that. I'm fighting the surveillance state here in my city right now. If you guys follow my page on my Facebook or anything like that, or on my Twitter, I've posted a video about them putting up these ridiculous cameras outside in the public just the day before yesterday. And that's not the first video I've done on that. I've been trying to bring this alertness to people. But now all of a sudden, because Trump's in office, it's Trump. It's not Trump. It's part of a much larger plan, a much larger scale plan to push more power into the hands of the authoritarian individuals that are self-serving in the political arena. It's not about Trump. It's not about Biden. You can love or hate them both. You can hate or love them both. It don't matter. Behind the scenes, the unseen hand is still at work. The shadow hand is still at work. Nothing's changed just because the administration changed. Nothing's changed just because Jeffrey Epstein changed. They just got somebody else extorting people now. Okay, like nothing's changed. Like the CIA still doing what the CIA do. Mossad still doing what Mossad doing. Big multinational corporations are still doing what they do with their own private armies, and the people that they're hiring as mercenaries to do what they want to do. You understand what I'm saying? Lobbying is still legal, and they're still doing what they want to do. Okay, so we really need to have that conversation. Drop a like, drop a heart, drop a thumbs up, and in the comments, you can be part of the conversation. Say something in the comments, and I'll do my best to pop it up on screen, and we'll have a conversation about it. Now, talking about Palantir and stuff like that, that brings us back to the first point we were talking about with Elon Musk. Now, a lot of these people are South African that are all from the PayPal mafia. Him, David Sachs, what's the other guy's name? Larry Ellison. Can't stand Larry Ellison. Ugh. And a couple of other people too. All of these people are really, really, really about themselves. And I don't care what anybody says, and I've said this before, okay? They're all white supremacists. Not Trump, but all of these South Africans, okay? Because that's how they've been raised. Like you guys, that anybody that would say different doesn't know anything about the history of South Africa. You don't. So please don't come here with some noise when you don't know what you're talking about. I said exactly what I said. When the Nazi regime collapsed, where's one of the places that they sent a lot of people to? Down there, because of the apartheid. If you don't know what apartheid is, go look it up. It just ended in 1994, bro. Like they were setting black people on fire and tires in 1994, dragging them through the streets till their death. And they're not actually black, they're African, but for lack of a better word and timing, you know, that's serious. That's serious, you guys. Like, this is what Elon comes from. Mining. What do we know about African mining? Okay, Elon comes from mining money. That's how his daddy make his money. And his mama's supermodel or whatever the case is. You know, questions on that. You know, like, these people don't have any, they've never been part of the real world. They have no concept of what the average everyday people are going through. And they're all, aside from just being elitist and born into the elite classes, which is number one, a big issue, that should be a red flag right there. They're completely about their own self-enrichment and what's going to keep them stable. Larry Ellison was like, oh, we should be tracking everybody all the time. No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't. Now they're partnering with the federal government, and Trump are partnering with Palantir to start monitoring people's faces and their social media and all types of other stuff. I'm not with it. I'm not with it at all. Although Palantir stock does look really pretty good right now. I'm not giving you any stock advice, but hey, so this is a serious issue. But can we talk about it? Even a little bit, maybe? No, because nobody wants to have that conversation. I seen Laura Loomer get on the Twitter yesterday talking about, oh yeah, we should have Palantir use all of the track everybody down through facial recognition and everything. She outside her mind. I always thought she was a little bit of a crackpot. Now I know that she's working for the evil. Okay, 100%. Why would you want that? I don't care who's in office, okay? That's what we're not doing. But these are the conversations we need to have. And right now, with what's going on in LA, all of these people that have been like, oh, Trump's gonna institute martial law. Well, why are you giving him a reason to, bro? Like, why are you giving him a reason to? I don't want him to have a reason to. Stop it. Just stop it, like the Michael Jordan meme. You know, like, just stop. But this is a conversation we need to have. Because I don't want them to end up putting out more of the military. I don't like that they have to have the National Guard there. And I said have to have because at this point, it's a necessity because they don't have enough officers. But talking about the Palantir connection and stuff like that, this is the way that we're going to 15-minute cities. I encourage you all to look up 15-minute cities if you're not familiar with them. Essentially what they are is open air prisons that are marketed as good quality living, where that nobody has a personal vehicle, or hardly nobody has a personal vehicle. You don't have to go outside of 15 minutes of where you live to get everything you need for your whole life. That's called ghettos, like they used to throw the Jews into and not let them out of in Europe. Like, can we have that conversation? Like they do in Dubai with all of the migrant workers. Can we have that conversation? Like, people need to wake up. And even if you are in a more affluent way, you want to be in a gilded cage, because why? Like, what about freedoms? What about liberties? And everybody's like, oh, well, we need more cameras and stuff like that. They're not arresting the criminals that are doing violent crimes, that are repeat offenders that they know are known to the police. Who do you think cameras are for? They're not for the criminals. They're to keep an eye on you. Come on now. Make it make sense. Drink water, stay hydrated, y'all. But this is the important part of the conversation that we really, really need to dig down into. If we're not talking about the overarching surveillance state that's creeping in because of 15-minute cities and the push for that, right here in my city, we've got these ridiculous medians that they've been putting up, taking 4-lane, basically expressways, and trying to put them down to 2 lanes in a main thoroughway. You know what I'm saying? Up and down the street. Now it's hard for the police to get down because it was 2 lanes. Now it's 1 lane. The police can't get down there. The ambulance can't get down there. We had a bus crash into one of these, not even a median, right? But they got the medians right there. We had a bus crash into these stupid barriers that they got talking about an enclosed bike lane. Didn't nobody ask you for that? And it looks hideous, bro. It looks the worst. Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's nothing but a huge concrete barrier. It's so super trash. Not only is it unsafe, it's untenable because they're all filled with garbage. You can't ride a bike in there. And most of the people don't like it because they say that they don't feel safe there, so they ride on the sidewalk anyway. So what have we really done? All you've done is make it more difficult to cross the street now, because now you got to wait like 15 minutes to cross the street, because now the traffic takes more of a long time and ain't nobody trying to stop to possibly be nice to let you go because they done been waiting so long. But is that a conversation that we can have? Like, certain things have other repercussions behind them. But that's all intentional. These companies and these nonprofits that are pushing these things, like they call them traffic calming and stuff like that, that they're pushing, really, they don't want you to own a private vehicle. And that's what they're starting to push. In Hawaii right now, I believe I might have talked about it very briefly, they put a carbon tax on anybody that comes into the state. So if you're coming from outside of the state into the state, you got to pay the state to be there, because now you got to pay for your carbon tax because you're adding carbon to the environment. Bogus nonsense. We need more carbon, not less carbon. Carbon is what feeds the trees and feeds the plants. Come on now, somebody tell the truth, shame the devil. Okay, if you got a greenhouse, a lot of greenhouses pump in carbon dioxide. Why? Because that helps the plant grow, because that's what plants breathe. And you talk about you want to get rid of it. We used to have bigger trees and we used to have a lot bigger plants. Okay, why? Because we have more carbon in the air. Like, y'all tripping. Like, y'all are tripping. Talking about, oh, well, there's a carbon and there's a global warming. No, it's not. No, it's not. And if you even want to make an argument for global warming, it definitely ain't the carbon dioxide in the air causing global warming. That ain't how it works at all. We don't have enough carbon dioxide in the atmosphere for any case study to prove that it's carbon dioxide. Like, are you dumb? Like, and I hate to say it like that, but you must think that we're dumb. Like, we're not being serious. But again, this is all about power and control. That's why they've got that new carbon tax over there in Hawaii, but they're trying to also do it in Washington. In California, they're trying to charge you for how many miles you drive, bro. You guys got to wake up. There's a lot more at stake here. There's a lot more going on than what people are seeing. They're trying to charge you per mile that you drive in California because they don't want you to drive. They don't want you to have private transportation. And this is what they're doing right here in my city. That's why I'm reeling against it, no matter how much. People are like, oh, well, it's good because it's safe. And if it saves one life, well, if it saves one life, how come you're out here encouraging abortion? Hello. If it saves one life, right? If it saves one life, I guess maybe we should block out the sun because people die of skin cancer. Sounds crazy. That reasoning and logic sounds crazy. People choke on Oreos. Should we ban Oreos? Because one person choked. If it saves one life, like, that is the most nonsensical BS that has ever been sold. But that's what they want to get you on. They want to get you on emotionality. They want to get you in your feelings. And once they got you in your feelings, it got you by the short and curlies. Okay. That's how they know that they can manipulate you. Okay. Because when you're more emotional, you don't think clearly. And when you don't think clearly, you're more easily to be deceived and led astray. If you're watching right now, hit the like, hit the share button, share this out with many more people. We got to get these important conversations out there, and drop a comment, even if it's just a heart in the comments or a thumbs up or a, hey, I see you there, Marcus, or hey, I shared, or whatever. Drop a comment, and every comment helps the algorithm to kick it out, to get it out to more people. And if you're listening on the radio, make sure you tell your friends, your family, and your enemies every Monday, 2:30 to 4 p.m., tune into The Divide on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio and listen to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. Now, as we get back into these important conversations, you guys, they're pushing for 15-minute cities. I need you to go look that up and go look up Cities for Action. Okay? I've talked about both of these things at length before. Go look them up, please. It's very important. And you got to look up these carbon credits and carbon taxes, because it's right now, those carbon credits and carbon taxes are crushing our neighbor to the north, Canada. They're doing that up there, and it's costing people filthy amounts of money. Really, really, really bad money. And it's making the people destitute, and soon they'll be charging you on your clothes, the type of clothes that you wear, and how much carbon went into making your clothes. You guys, you got to wake up, because the average person can barely afford what they got right now, more or less an extra tax on how their clothes were made. It's crazy. It's crazy. And we have to be on the lookout for that. Over there in LA right now, They're setting cars on fire. They're destroying property and all types of crazy nonsense. And all it is a distraction to stimulate civil unrest so that they can usher in more authoritarianism. And again, like I said, it's not about Trump. It's about a much larger plan. And I'm glad that some liberals and leftists are starting to wake up and say, oh, well, this is an issue. But you're saying it's an issue because of Trump. It's not an issue because of Trump. It's an issue because the shadow hand is really behind the scenes moving everything. And that's something that we need to talk about. Now, I don't know if you guys know, last year, they busted a Chinese biological weapons factory in LA. That happened. Can we talk about that? I think that's an important thing to have a conversation about. The Chinese had a bio lab. Let me rephrase that. The Chinese had a military grade bio lab that was enhancing pathogens that could be easily given out into the public. Can we talk about that? China is our enemy. Doesn't matter what anybody wants to say. Oh, well, they're our competitor. No, you need to start saying that they're our enemy so the people know that they're our enemy. They don't have any problem using all types of crazy warfare against us. They just caught two of these people that are at these universities. I believe, I can't remember which one it was, but was it Houston? I don't remember where it was. It doesn't matter. But we could talk about the spy ring that they busted in Houston when Trump was in office the first time with like 600 people that was at the Chinese consulate or embassy, whatever it is. We could talk about that. That'd be an important conversation to have. The Chinese are all up running down through America, doing what the heck they want, destabilizing our country. Who do you think is funding a lot of this stuff and pushing a lot of this stuff? China. It's not solely them, but it's also the world people in behind the World Economic Forum, the Soros family, the Bilderbergs, and all of these other people that are all parts of the Council on Foreign Relations, the UN, and all of this nonsense. If you really started to get into the UN one day, maybe we'll do a whole deep dive into the UN. But it's trash, you guys. It's trash what they're pushing. The UN doesn't want anybody to own a firearm. Why? So y'all can be the only ones with guns? I don't trust y'all now. Y'all can't get right now. Why I want y'all to be the only ones with guns? Plus, y'all not even from my country. How y'all not from my country and y'all get to be the only? Nah. I like America just fine, where the Japanese general said that behind every blade of grass is a gun. That's how it should be. Okay. And people might say, oh, well, but that leads to more violence. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. When more people had open carry and were carrying firearms openly, we had less gun violence. So you make that make sense to me. Okay, so your point is moot. It is inaccurate. It is not substantiated by reality. Like, you're not being serious. Also, I do think that we should probably bring back duels, but that's a whole separate conversation. Now, we had a couple of other interesting things happen, and I'd like to get back to the Chinese aspect for a second. Trump is now pushing out a whole bunch of Chinese from our institutions, especially places like Harvard, and where we have a lot of contracts with the schools. So people got mad about Trump not giving money to Harvard or taking away the money for Harvard or whatever. How are you going to tell the federal government that they can't do business with the schools that they want to do business with? How do you think they're getting that money? They're getting that money because they're running programs there for the government. Hello, like research and development programs and stuff like that. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, see, but people don't want to conceive this because they've got so brainwashed by or brain rotted by the high fever that they're running because of Orange Man fever. It's crazy. It's crazy out here right now. And it's very concerning because people's judgment is very much so clouded when it comes to him. So they can't see everything else that's going on. So anyway, Trump's getting rid of a whole bunch of Chinese citizen visas. Get rid of all of them. No offense. I do not care. All of the Chinese people that are from China, okay, or that have family over there, largely they are a possible threat to our nation. Okay, especially anybody here on a visa is a threat to our nation. I don't want none of them there because I actually know how bad China is and what they're really trying to do to us. But nobody seems to understand that. You know that these two people smuggled a fungus in here, a highly contagious fungus, to rot our crops. The Chinese did that, and They were growing it at one of these labs in the schools that they were working in as researchers, as doctorate degrees. You understand what I'm saying? So and nobody knew, but they just found that out and they got arrested by the FBI last week. But can we have that conversation? And the Bible says, and I'm paraphrasing, while you were asleep, the enemy sowed weeds or tards, whatever, however you say that word. TRADES, basically weeds. And the enemy sowed, while you were asleep, the enemy sowed weeds amongst your seeds in the field. And that's what's happening right here. You think about the Asian murder hornet. Where'd that come from? China. How'd it get here? Makes no sense. You think about the Asian lionfish in Florida, invasive species, messing up stuff. Well, how did that get here? China. You think about the lantern bug here in New York. Well, it's from China. Well, how did it get here? China. Because they're having all types of warfare against us that we don't even understand conceptually. It's agro warfare. And people need to understand how serious it really, really is. Somebody dropped a comment. Somebody said something. Who said something? Kevin says, I've been listening. City Council has put Speak to Council back on the calendar for this Thursday. Yeah, I signed up for that this morning. You guys, I always encourage you to get active locally. Kevin's talking about something here locally in our area. Speak to Council. I always encourage you guys, if you are in the Rochester area, please come with me to City Council. See what's going on. Speak up or just listen, because we got to get more people starting to come out and get active at these events so they understand what's going on politically in our area or in your area. Go to a city council meeting or a town board meeting, fire district, school board, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just start to get active, because it's up to us. Nobody's coming to save us. It's up to us. So it's very important. Thank you for that, Kevin. Because they had taken it off of the calendar. I didn't know where it was. When I talked to them this morning, I was like, what's up with that? But the whole point of me calling them this morning was because of my concern with these people, and they're fermenting a protest, I use the term lightly, here in Rochester on the 16th as part of a nationwide rebellion against our government. What? Nonsense. Okay? A nationwide rebellion against our government. Okay? If that's not an insurrection, I don't know what is. This is on their own material. Like, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. A nationwide rebellion against the government? Like, are you serious? Like, that's on your papers? Like, they're not even trying to hide it, people. So when somebody says, oh, that's not what it's about, they're a bold-faced lie. I'm talking about here in Rochester, where I live. Like, are we being serious? We're not. But I called them. I said, I don't think that this is cool. Y'all need to keep an eye on these people, especially these DSA people and these FTP people. They call themselves Free the People Rock, but really it's F the Police. Okay, that's what it stands for. Okay, they ain't pulling no wool over nobody's eyes. Okay, we're not sitting here playing that game. Okay, don't even get me started. But these people want to overthrow our government and destroy our government and destabilize our government for their own personal interest. It's not for the betterment of our citizens. They're out here flying foreign flags and they're Palestine flags and nonsense like that. This is what's going on here. And we need to be very, very cognizant and understanding of what's being done. So I called them. I said, y'all need to be on alert, high alert, because these people are ready to get out of control. Not even necessarily a lot of them as individuals, but these anarchists are mixing with these groups, and the anarchists and the nihilists don't believe in nothing, and the anarchists just believe in complete total destruction and want to watch everything burn. So they join up with these groups so that they can cause problems, because they see that they will not be punished and they won't go to jail and they won't get any sentences and nobody's going to get punished. So we need that this time. I said, y'all need to coordinate with the state troopers, with the what you call them people? The sheriff's department and the police. Y'all need to get ready just in case, because it's coming and there needs to be a plan and order that can be instituted. The last time they had them riots here, They tore up my whole business district. Okay. Destroyed a number of the buildings, including doing damage to my building and stuff as well. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And you know what the mayor did at the time? Told the police to stand down. What do you even mean? You told the police to stand down and let our neighborhood get tore up by these anarchists and destructive people, but then you wouldn't let them go into the nicer neighborhoods, though. You had the police posted up at the nicer neighborhoods. So I gave the mayor a message. I said, yo, that can't happen this time, bro. And I hope he's on his P's and Q's, because he's up for re-election right now and he's going through a primary. So I really hope that he gets the message and that he actually stands on it, because if some stuff does pop off, which the election for him is, the primary is the 24th. So if something happens before then, like this protest that they're trying to do on a massive scale, that they're fielding on the 16th, or is it the 14th? I forgot. Whatever I said the first time. I think it's the 14th. I think it's the 14th. Yeah. But on the 14th, like, what's going to happen, bro? You better look out, because these people cause a commotion and act all the way up. You bound to lose your election seat. And a lot of people aren't too happy already. So they just vote out of spite in a different direction, or just won't come out and vote at all. So that's problematic. So I hope he gets on it and does something for real. I left a message for city council, same type of message. You know, I called the president of city council. I'm going to try to catch up with the with some of the other members of city council, the ones that aren't on FTP and aren't part of the DSA, because we got actual socialists on city council right now, 2.5 of them. Okay. So Mary Lupian, Stanley Martin, and Kim Smith. Okay. Kim Smith is not running for re-election, but Stanley Martin is running for re-election, and Mary Lupian's running for mayor. Like, these people hate our nation. Like, when you are a part of a socialist group that openly preaches the downfall of our nation and overthrowing our government for a foreign cause, like, you're doing too much. You understand what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous and unacceptable. Well, we got a couple of other things I wanted to cover, but the whole thing is so disgusting that it makes me want to spit. But this is a serious bit. We got these people here that don't care, right? And if you turn on the media or social media, everything's a distraction, right? But we need to have these real conversations. If we're not going to have them in public, we got to have them in private, but they need to be in public, because we need to start to engage more people that we don't think agree with us, because how else are we going to spread the word? Like, I don't care if you're left, right, whatever. You need to go look up 15-minute cities, because they're a false bill of goods. Go look up Cities for Action, because it's a false bill of goods. Like, you need to look these things up and know what's being done and know the direction that we're going. Okay? You need to look up the Chinese social credit score. Okay? We've got these, they're pushing these digital IDs in New York State now. During COVID, they pushed the digital health IDs. Like, now they've got actual digital IDs, and they're like, oh, it's because it's more convenient for you. It's not because it's more convenient for you. It's because they're starting this out to get you accustomed to it so that they can actually have more control. Do not fall for the flim flam. Like, I see a lot of people getting mad now about the real ID. This is something that I've been warning about for years. This has been in the works for years. It's been in the works since 9/11 and the Patriot Act, which we need to overturn, which we got the House and the Senate. So can't nobody explain to me why the Republicans aren't overturning the Patriot Act. You know, we already know why the Democrats don't want to overturn the Patriot Act, because they want to spy on everybody anyway, and they'll debank you if you disagree with them, and they'll shut off all your stuff if you disagree with them. But well, what reason does the Republicans have to do it? Make it make sense, because they're all in it together. So policy matters, but we need to have these conversations, you know, and I'm here, and I believe very firmly that we are the leaders that are needed for this time, and we must stand up. and we must do it now. Trump has a new travel ban that just went into effect with like 19 different countries. So people that are here on visas right now are okay for that. And people that have visas upcoming can still use their visas. But they're putting more scrutiny on a lot of these countries. And some of them they're just straight not letting in right now. And I'm not mad at that. That's good because they have no way of verifying who people are or anything like that. And that's important. But we can't talk about that because people will tell you, oh, well, it's because Orange Man bad and everybody should be a human and all of this nonsense. I'm not trying to hear none of that. No American can go to another country and just go in there illegally and expect to be safe and not thrown in jail. We're not being realistic. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. You understand what I'm saying? But this isn't happening anywhere else. We can't go anywhere like that and not be kicked out. But a good thing about Americans is only about 10% of them feel the need to even ever leave the country. That's why only about 10% have a passport. So that's a good thing, but it's also not so much. But it's a good thing because it shows that people don't feel the need to leave the country. They don't. So they're better off staying here. And that's good, you know? And that's a blessing. Plus, we're bigger than all of Europe and some change anyway, you know? But that's a whole separate conversation that people don't want to have. You know, you drive 30 minutes in Europe, you're in a whole nother country. And that's from almost anywhere. You get on a train, you're definitely in another country in 30 minutes. Like, we're not being serious right now. So we've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on as well. I don't know if you guys heard that the current administration turned about 270 miles of the border into a situation where essentially they're extending to military bases. So because they did that, they can basically use the military to hold anybody that comes through that area. And hardly nobody has done that. Not hardly nobody. I think they said they just got the first 3 that have tried to do that since that started, which is a godsend because I think we're down something like 99.9, like that's not even a joke, 99.9% of all illegal immigration is down. All border crossings are down, excuse me. That's something that we should all be cheering. But there are people that say, no, let them all in. Well, where do we go if we let everybody else in? And then they're like, oh, well, there's enough resources for everybody and everything. How many people do you know that want to have all the exact things as somebody else? How many people do you know that actually want to share all their own stuff until you have all the same stuff that they have? It doesn't make no sense. That's not how humans work. Humans want their own stuff. We want the same thing as our neighbor. We want better than our neighbor. That's how America works. Like, we're not being serious. People don't want to have a serious conversation. And I know these conversations are really hard, but we have to get to the bottom of them. And we have to have these real conversations. Now, I'm glad that the illegal immigration is down so much. I'm glad that the gasoline prices are going down. I'm glad that we got some semblance of order, at least looking like it's nudging to get back the way that it needs to be. But here's the deal. The president can only do so much. And this is what I was talking about earlier. When I say, oh, these people are uniting in hate for Trump. You mad at Trump for what, bro? He barely controls anything. Him, like the mayor, they only control the departments. Now, with the control of the departments, Trump does have a lot more control than the mayor does, because at least the mayor controls the, what would you call them? The departments here in the city of Rochester, while the president controls the departments of everywhere for all of the federal issues, right? So that's really awesome. Like Lee Zeldin, who ran for Congress here a couple of years ago, He's in the EPA. I mean, Lee Zeldin, where are the reforms and the deregulations from the CAFE standards? Okay. I want to know, somebody let me know. The CAFE standards are these standards for air pollution, which are basically the reason why we don't have station wagons or those old longer cars. I guess you call those sedans. I don't even know anymore. But yeah, those are important. Those are very, very, very important. But can we have those serious conversations? I don't know. I'm just bringing these things to your attention, you know. And as you're watching and you're tuned in, please hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up, hit the heart, share this to your page, share it to some other people's page, and make sure you comment, because if you comment, I can do my best to pop it up on the screen and share it, and we can talk about it as a whole. But we're in serious situation right now in our country. We really, really, really are. We got a whole bunch of people inside our country that hate our country. Between the education system and you figure EPA, education system, HUD, Department of Urban Housing and Urban Development. You got DHS. You've got all types of other numbers of different departments that the president is in charge of. So that's a good thing, but only if he's using that power in charge of them for something that's going to benefit the people as a whole, you know. But we need to have that serious conversation, but that requires having the old conversation. I was watching a video of Bernie Sanders from like 20 years ago, and now I was watching a video of, believe it or not, you guys, Hillary Clinton, and she's like, yeah, if you're here illegally, you need to go. I was like, oh yeah, I agree with that, Hillary. She's like, if you're here illegally and you're working and stuff like that, we might consider keeping you if you pay a huge fine and you get to the back of the line. I said, I agree with that, you know. Bernie Sanders has said stuff over and over again that I agree with. Okay, I don't like his stance on socialism or whatever, but it doesn't mean that I can't agree with them on certain things. But the fact of the matter is unless we have real serious and hard conversations, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But I'll tell you this, talking about those two, we got people in the Senate right now and in the House of Representatives that should all be out of there. Gonzo. We got people like Mitch McConnell. I don't care if he's not running next year or the year after or whatever the case is. He shouldn't be in there now. Okay, that's number one and foremost. I do not know what's going to happen if we as the people don't start taking an active role in our government. It's honestly and truthfully up to us. We can make a real difference. But first, like Michael Jackson says, if you want to make the world a better place, you gotta look in the mirror and make a change, right? Like that's an important, very, very serious, important thing. It goes to the story of the adulterous woman in the Bible, you know. The whole concept there is that with the Bible and the adulterous woman, Jesus says, he without sin can cast the first stone, and people try to say, oh, well, that means that Christians shouldn't judge. Absolutely not. The lessons there is that Christians should judge, but if you're going to hold somebody to a standard that you're not holding yourself to, that you are not right. And that's a serious, serious message that not enough people actually get and take away from that, because they try to soften Christianity and nonsense like that, and I'm not with none of it. I'm not with none of it. If anything, I think, I'll tell you this, I was at a, and I should have took a picture of it, but I was so busy yesterday. I was at a gazebo thing, hut, what do you call it? Pavilion? I feel like pavilion is the right word for this. I was at an outdoor pavilion yesterday, and I seen scrawled on the brick wall, it said, armed trans women. First of all, that's not a thing. You're either a man or a woman, or you're some sort of an animal, okay, that you were born that way. Okay, not that you identify as a dog all of a sudden now. But anyway, I saw this thing that said arm trans women. I'm like, absolutely not. But also, I don't think they shouldn't be armed. I think everybody should be armed. I'm half of thinking that it should be obligatory, you know? But I'm saying that in jest. I'm not serious. I'm only 50% serious about that. I think everybody should be armed pretty much all of the time. And these no gun zones are really, really hurting. I think it's something like 98% of firearms related deaths happened in a gun-free zone since the early 1990s. That's crazy. That's a crazy, crazy statistic to me. But these are the type of important conversations that we need to have. And I brought that up because when it comes to Christians, if the trans identifying people, or whatever the case is, are talking about they need to arm up, we need to arm up. As Christians, we need to arm up, and we need to stand up. And we need to stop letting people mock our religion. We need to stop letting people mock Jesus and mock God, our Father. Okay, we need to stop letting them mock us, because if they were to mock the Jews or they were to mock the Muslims, either the Muslims would be dragging them behind a cart, okay, with their head cut off, or the Jews would be suing the Jesus out of them. Okay. And these are the conversations. But if it's a Christian, it's okay to do whatever to them. That's not okay with me. And I'll leave you with this thought of why I'm saying this. All of us as American citizens need to start to arm ourselves. And I've been saying this for years, because the martial law is coming, because I'm pretty sure that the trains are coming to start picking people up, because they are building these lists. They are checking them twice. They know whether you like the government or you think that they're not so nice. Okay. And we need to go, and we need to be ready. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, the money people, the bank, he said the other day, all these people trying to invest in cryptocurrency, they need to be investing in guns and bullets. Go look it up. Jamie Dimon, the money dude, the guy in charge of one of the biggest banks in the world, said that instead of investing in cryptocurrency, you need to be investing in guns and bullets. That is the message. Something is coming. Please wake up and prepare. All right, you guys, I love you. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're listening on the radio, make sure you tell your friends, your family, your enemies. Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. Tune into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on 106.3 WRFZ. Thank you for tuning in today. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. All right, you guys. So that what I said was a real thing. Jamie Dimon really did get on the TV, and he said that we need to invest in firearms and bullets. That's what we really need to be doing right now. And I believe that when the guy with all the money is saying stuff like that, maybe, just maybe, we should listen to him. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. We need to start arming ourselves, because like I said, the government is encroaching on us. And everybody's like, oh, it's Trump. I'm not concerned about Trump. I'm concerned about the unseen hand that's been maneuvering all of the presidents since a long, long time. Okay. That's been maneuvering all of Congress a long, long time. Okay. You could say it's the Illuminati. You can say it's the Masons. You could say it's whoever you want to say. Okay, the fact is that there are people that are working behind the scenes, no matter who they actually really are, that are all in it together against us as the citizens, and they only want to shore up their own quality of life and their own way of life. As this wealth gap intensifies, things are going to get more and more unstable. People that have never been homeless are going to be homeless. People that have never not had a job are not going to have a job. So you're going to have the real hardcore criminals out there, and you're going to have the grandma who can't afford canned bread, right? Like, what's canned bread, Mark? Is that, basically something really, really cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that can't afford nothing out there trying to rob, steal, and do stuff, because that's the point that we're coming to. We got about 5 years before AI really starts to crack everything open and takes a lot of the jobs. And that's put out there by the CBO and OMB, which are the Office of Budget and Management for the federal government and the what is it? The Center for Budget, the Central Budget Office. And these are the conversations that we need to have. That's up and coming. But I mentioned earlier about 15-minute cities, which I encourage you, go look that up and look up China's social credit score. That is the direction that we are going. We have to stop it and avert it. We might not be able to stop it completely, but we could daggone sure slow it down. But that involves us to get active on the local level and challenge a lot of the stuff that's going on the local level, the construction, the different prioritizations of the funding, the different things that are happening with the monies that are coming in, the different policies and the different rezoning that's going on. It's going on here, and I'm sure even if you don't live here, it's probably going on in a lot of your cities out there. So you guys, we got to be ready. We got to be on our toes. I'm letting you know right now, people are like, oh, well, it's Trump, it's the Republicans. Other people are like, oh, it's the left, it's the Democrats. It ain't none of them. It is all of the whole apparatus behind there that's being manipulated and puppeted with strings. These anarchists out here, these socialists out here, they're all being maneuvered by any number of 3 different prioritizations. China's doing it. Okay, the unseen hand is doing it. Okay, the shadow hand, they're doing it. Okay, the people that really run the stuff, they're doing it because they're all being manipulated. Then you got the people that are in the government that aren't a part of that are also using these people because the destabilization makes them money. You know, these are things that we have to be on the lookout for. They got us distracted by everything, bread and circuses. They got us distracted by Elon, and they got us distracted by Trump fighting back and forth. And in the meantime, they bring back, what's his name? Kilbear Garcia, whatever his name is, that guy. They brought him back. Did that even make the news? Not barely in a footnote. Okay. And apparently he's going to go be charged with all types of stuff, but then he's going to go to jail. But it don't matter. But they brought him back, but we didn't even catch that. There's about 18 different things that we didn't catch because everybody was so distracted by Trump. This Palantir stuff just kind of popped up on the radio, boop, on the radar, like boop. And now it's out there. Now it's gone again. Okay, this is serious, people. What's going on is serious. And we have to start having these conversations with other individuals. And people might tell you you're crazy. People might say, oh, that's not true. They're just not ready to listen yet. Okay, it's like in the Matrix, they said that you take the red pill and you wake up and you see what's really going on, or you take the blue pill and you go back to sleep and you stay stuck in the Matrix. This is really, really happening. This is really, really going on. And we really, really need to get prepared. Honestly, I think that the thing is that a lot of people don't understand is that Trump was a respite from this for a little bit. But that only gives us probably about till midterm elections, really. But they seem to be kicking off stuff right now real extra early. So who even knows if we make it to midterm elections? So we only got about a year and a half left, not even. About a year to get everything together that way that we need to. This wealth gap is about to blow up, people, in the next 5 years. And we're already seeing it by the prioritization of where the cities and where the states are putting money for housing and stuff like that. Right now, they tell us that we have a housing crisis. How is that possible that we have a housing crisis and a housing shortage at the same time? I'll ask you these questions. How can we have a housing shortage if we're having less children now more than ever? Make it make sense to me. If we got less children, that means there's less people. If everybody's old now and all the old people are dying, how is there housing shortage? How is that possible? Well, what's happening is all of these giant companies like BlackRock and like all of these other big companies, Vanguard and stuff like that, they're buying up all the houses. Plus, large commercial real estate people are buying up all of the houses, the single family homes, the duplexes and stuff like that for themselves so that they can have a, what would you call it, a portfolio. So those homes are not available for the everyday people that are common folk that normally would get them anyway. And that also bumps up a lot of the pricing. And one more thing I want to talk to you about right now is this. We got a guy right now that's running for mayor, right? And we got the mayor. And for years, people here, including myself, have been trying to get them to in the city to what would you call it? Deregulate the code enforcement, right? So we want them to make it so that it's easier to build tiny homes and modular homes and stuff like that, and prefab homes and stuff like that in the city. But this has been for years. We've been at that, and now all of a sudden, okay, the new guy that is running, some Indian guy that's not even an American, that's not even American. He's not even first generation. Okay, I mean, I guess technically, I think he's a citizen. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think he's a citizen. Doesn't matter. You really got to be some sort of special for me to vote for you if you're a foreigner. But it doesn't matter. Okay, maybe he's good as an individual. I don't know, but it looks like a lot of his policies are very far left. But he said, I want to build 4,000 houses. You can't build 4,000 houses in 4 years. That's what he's promising. It's physically not possible. To get the permitting and to get the workforce, we don't have the workforce. You'd have to build a workforce to do that. You physically can't do that. Then you're like, oh, well, we'll buy prefab houses. What, all the prefab houses in the country? 4,000 units? How you gonna get that? Who's ramping up production on prefab houses like that right now? You know, and I got an investment in a prefab housing company. So, but I do think that a lot of that's going to be a big thing for a lot of the stuff in the future, but also so is 3D printed houses. So, and automated construction houses through machines. So that's a whole nother separate conversation. But we need to have these conversations because it's important. But he's like, we're going to build 4,000 houses. And now he's like, oh, well, they're going to be modular houses. First of all, he ain't never said that before. Now that's his new idea. That's okay. They're going to be modular houses. I pointed out to him. I said, listen, again, like I said, I got an investment in a modular housing company. I think it's a good idea, right? I see that it's going to come out. It's going to be a good thing. Full disclosure. But here's the deal. If you get a unit that is 400 square feet and it's going to sell for $80,000, he said, well, it's not going to cost that much. Do you know how much things cost, dude? You don't know how much things cost, not in the real world. And you definitely don't know how much things cost when it comes to the government funding it. And that's a whole separate conversation for another episode. I think we talked about it a few episodes ago. Because the government has to spend more money than normal people would for different things. There's a name for it. I forget what it's called off the tip of my tongue right now. But that's important. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Hit the retweet button. It don't cost you nothing. But he's like, well, we going to do the modular homes. I'm like, but a modular home is going to cost you at least $80,000 to sell, right? And he's like, no, it's not. Okay, fair. Let go look up one of those almost built houses that comes out of the catalog from Home Depot. You're talking $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 easy. And that's with no insulation, nothing on the inside, nothing. And you still got to put it together and you still got to have a base and all of that, right? Okay. So how much is that going to cost you? By the time you get done with that, you're going to spend another $30,000, $40,000. Now your price is up to $60,000. Now you got to sell it above what it costs you to make it. And I'm being generous, right? Like I'm sure that it's going to end up costing more than that, especially with the way the prices are going right now. But anyway, you be generous with that. Now you're up to, let's say 20 and 40. Now you're at 60, right? Then you got to sell it for some sort of a profit. So some sort of a profit looks like $80,000. Like the one company I said that I'm looking at right now, they say that they can build these things for $50,000. Okay. All basically completely done. Okay. Slab ready, slab grade ready. But if it's all completely done, $50,000, that's cool. But the slab itself and getting the permitting and then getting the electrical together and everything like that, you're talking about at least another $20,000. At least, at smallest, another $20,000. So now you're easy up into the 70s already. Okay? And don't talk about you need a parking lot or anything like that. Not a parking lot, but you know what I'm talking about. Driveway or anything like that. We're not being serious or real here. We're not. And that's very, very serious and concerning. So I told him, I said, bro, I said, essentially any modular house, and then go look up how much an RV costs, bro. Go look up how much an RV costs. If you out here spending a Toyota Tundra right now, you can spend $150,000 on a Toyota Tundra. Go try to buy one. It's crazy. Okay. If you try to buy a motorhome, okay, and put it on somewhere, park it somewhere, you're talking about over $120,000 easy. But let's just play along and go on the low end and say it's $80,000 and the house is like 400 square feet. Okay, $80,000 for 400 square feet. Well, where I live, the average house is going for about 100,000 to 125 right now. That's about the price range of something that's like 1,200 square feet to 1,400 square feet, right? But many people are bidding way, 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 way over that. But let's just go with the 125 number. So if a 1,400 square foot house is 125 and a 400 square foot house is $80,000, what's that going to do to the taxes and the assessment on the 1,400 square foot house? It's going to jack it up astronomically 2-3 times to meet now market rate, because you put that house there, now this house costs that much. So this is the problem. This is the problem. People aren't forward thinking. They don't want to listen. They don't want to hear any of this. And then you look at the new construction on a lot of these houses. They're all knockdown houses. We got all types of crazy new developments for low income and affordable housing. Don't get me started on that. But we got all of those out here now, and they're super trash. I was talking to a guy the other day, literally just yesterday, about it, because I talk to people. I like to know about things, so I ask a lot of questions. I'm talking to the guy. He's like, yeah, they just built the complex I'm in about 10 years ago. It's already fallen to shambles. All of the materials in there are so cheap and all of this and all of that, but that's our state taxpayer money. You understand what I'm saying? And they're using inferior quality products. And this is something that we really need to have a conversation about. But they're cutting corners so that they can enrich themselves. But we're not having this conversation. Somebody need to be having this conversation. We need to be talking about how these different projects are not only assessed, but who's overlooking them and who's making sure that the proper building materials are being used. Who's making sure that the specs that are there aren't like terracotta houses, not terracotta. What's the word I'm looking for? Essentially terracotta houses, ticky-tacky houses. That's what I'm looking for. Ticky-tacky, just like the wind blows it over. It's mush. It's mush. And a lot of these places are molding and all types of stuff. I hear all types of stories. Somebody's telling me one place that they're at that they just built it too, and they can't even use a lot of the different decks or portions that they're supposed to have for outside seating and stuff, because it's all tore up already, because the quality of the materials was so inferior that it's just bubbled up and bent up and curved up and messed up. And instead of fixing it, of course, they don't want to fix it. You guys, we got a lot going on. And that's why I'm glad and I'm blessed that I could share this time with you guys and be encouraging to you to stand up and speak up. It's up to you. Nobody is coming to save us. Nobody's coming off a cloud. Ain't nobody coming in on a white horse. It's up to us as individuals to start to stand up. We have been put here for a time just like this, and we must take a stand. But what they're trying to do right now is divide us all, because they know united we stand, divided we fall. And that's a real serious thing. That's why they're trying to divide us on whatever you can, whether it's race or gender or sexual orientation or whatever it is this week. You don't like tacos or whatever the case is. It's somebody hates bananas or whatever the case is, because that's what they do. At the core of it, they will find any way to divide you and keep you separate from each other, because they know that if we unite, we can actually make a difference in our government and actually push for the community issues that we have to be addressed. And then they distract you with the federal level when you need to be focused on the local level, because the local level is where you can make real change and get real stuff done. So get active. Go to a city council meeting, go to a school board meeting, town council, county ledge, fire district, whatever you got in your area. Get out, get active, and start participating, because we need more people to participate so that we can move the needle forward and actually start getting community issues addressed. It's like that. That's what I got for you guys. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Be blessed and be well. I love you all. Catch you later.